and bid'ah comes out, all of the mistakes in the history of Islam, all of the mistakes that these deviant sects made in the Quran and the Sunnah, most of them go back to their lack of knowledge in balagha. Literally. Some of them to their lack of knowledge in Arabic. All of them. And so what Omar saw was, if this becomes widespread, we'll lose the foundation of our religion, which is language. And this is something the modern world, it's very troubling, because we're losing the ability to communicate. Private languages are emerging. We have a whole generation of youth that speak in private languages. We can't understand them. They speak in acronyms. They use words that we don't know what they mean. They invert words, so bad becomes good, right? Hot becomes cool. La ilaha illallah. Now, another example of that is from Umar, from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He was once مر برجل يقال له أبو لفاقة في يده ثوب. He was carrying a garment, and Abu Bakr was a garment merchant. فقال له الصديق رضي الله تعالى عنه أتبيع هذا الثوب? Are you going to sell this robe? And the man said, لا رحمك الله. No, may God have mercy on you. What did Abu Bakr say? قد قومت ألسنتكم لو تستقيمون. Had you been morally upright, your tongues would have been grammatically correct. It's a very deep metaphysical statement. This is a very deep metaphysical statement. Had you been morally upright, your tongues would have been grammatically correct. In other words, the corruption of the language only occurs with the corruption, with a metaphysical corruption that precedes it. And that's why language is at the root of the problem on the planet. Literally. It is at the root of the problem. Now, why did he say that? Well, the reason for that is, in Arabic you have two types of sentences. You have what are called khabariya, which is indicative, and then you have an insha'iyya, which in English we divide them into several categories, but it's basically a subjective sentence, like an optative, an interrogative sentence. If you ask somebody like, where are you going, or how are you doing? Those are all forms, subjective sentences. Whereas if you have a khabariya, it's indicative. It's a categorical statement. It's raining. That's khabariya, jumla khabariya, right? You can go outside and see whether it's true or false. So when he said, "Atabi'u hada," are you selling this? That was a question. That's an insha'iyya, but it demands a khabariya, right? So it's an interrogative sentence that demands an indicative response, either yes or no or maybe. When he said no, he followed it with a dua. A dua is not a khabariya, it's insha'iyya. But it's when we make dua in Arabic, we usually use the past tense, which is khabariya. Rahimukallah. God has had mercy on you. But the reason we use the form of the khabariya is because it's out of hope that God has already forgiven you. So we use the past tense because it's rahimukallah, as if it's already happened. But what you're really saying is, may God forgive you. So when he said la, khabariya, indicative, and then he said an optative statement, rahimukallah, may God have mercy on you. It's a wish. So he said, may God have mercy on you. He didn't divide it with a fasal. He didn't put an istitnaf there. He didn't put a wow, which would indicate that they're separate. He put them together, and that could make you think that he's saying, may God not have mercy on you. So Abu Bakr was correcting his grammar. Now, what does Shaykh Abdullah say about this? He says, this indicates that the caliph should be concerned about the grammar of his population. Whoever the ruler is, he should be concerned about the grammar of his population. And this is something that Muslims were obsessed with, really. There are so many books on grammar and language. And no community in the human history ever served language like the Muslims did. The dictionaries we have are by far the best dictionaries in human history. Muslims were writing dictionaries long before any other civilization wrote scientific dictionaries. The Europeans didn't start. In English, we don't have a dictionary from Shakespeare's period. There's no dictionary from Elizabethan English. There's no dictionary. I mean, Johnson's dictionary is the first dictionary, 18th century, in English. It's the first dictionary. And it's an interesting dictionary, but it's not anywhere near as sophisticated as the early Muslim dictionaries. Our first dictionary was incredibly sophisticated. Al-Ain. It's amazing. Al-Khalil. It's an amazing dictionary. And then if you look at Lisan al-Arab, beyond belief. Taj al-Arus. Amazing. There's something that Abu Bakr al-Razi does in his Mukhtar al-Sihah, because there's a famous dictionary called Sihah. And then Mukhtar al-Sihah, which is the one I used when I was a student all the time. I would look up a word and he'd say, ma'loom. Like everybody knows that. That was his definition. In other words, listen, dummy, if you're having to look up this word, you're not ready for this dictionary.